Welcome to Paint Radio with your hosts, Emily Howard and Andrew Dwyer.
Yeah, Paint Radio. I'm Andrew Dwyer, publisher of APC. Emily Howard, editor-in-chief, is with me. Emily, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well.
I would say you and I are a very grateful bunch. I know you're grateful to do this podcast with me. Who could blame you?
Yeah,
But
of course.
and of course, we love our listeners. We're very grateful that people listen to the podcast at Paint Radio. And of course, APC exists to help painting contractors. And so we love whenever we have the opportunity to help a painting contractor. And the thing we love even more is when a manufacturer comes to us and says, hey, we also love painting contractors. We got something we want to talk about. Can we do a podcast? And that's what's happening today. And that's why there's a little extra giddy up in my step, because that's what BEHR PRO did. They came and said, we've got this awesome new product, Dynasty. We want to talk about it. We're jazzed up about it. We want our painting contractor friends to know about it. And we said, heck yeah, let's do it. So BEHR PRO is sponsoring this podcast because, like I said, they're excited to take the opportunity to speak directly to the pro about this awesome product. So let's talk about who we have on the show today. We've got Matt Wiskowski. He's VP of Sales at BEHR. Matt, welcome back to Paint Radio. How are you, sir?
I'm doing really well, Andrew. Great to be with you guys again.
And we also have David Cofresi, Regional Account Manager for the beautiful Southeastern U.S. We've got Chris Barcomb, owner of 5 Star Painting in Katy, Texas. We also have Tim Crumpler. He's Director of Operations of Calderon Drywall and Paint. Tim, welcome to Paint Radio. How are you?
How you doing, Andrew? Glad to be here. Doing great.
Awesome. Yes. We're going to talk Dynasty. We're going to talk ultra premium paint. Matt, let's start there. This product is very new. I think it came out in September. Correct me if I'm wrong. That goes without saying on Paint Radio. Emily does it all the time. Correct Andrew when he's wrong. It gives everyone an opportunity to speak all the time. I think this debuted in September. And as I understand it, it is the single best, highest quality premium paint that BEHR PRO has ever offered. Is that correct, Matt?
Yeah, Andrew, you're absolutely right. And sorry, Emily is right. So
I hate it when that happens.
we'll leave it at that. We'll give him a little praise there. But it is our best product we've introduced. It's a product that's heavy on features and benefits. It's actually a combination of some of our products that we've had in our portfolio for the last couple of years that we've kind of combined into one. We're excited for the pros out there to use it because I think the benefits it has is something that's going to create a positive experience, not only for the applicator and the professional, but also for the end user, the customer. So we're excited to be on today and to talk to some of the features and benefits of this product.
Well, I know something like this doesn't come together quickly, that's for sure. So I won't ask you how the sausage was made. I'm sure you put an enormous amount of time into this, and to say that you're delighted to see it reach the market is an understatement. So Matt and David, just talk a bit about that, because our audience is purely painting contractor. Tell the pro what Dynasty is. Explain what the product is.
A couple things that really stand out in this product is the scuff and mar resistance. This is something that's extremely durable. It comes in a matte, an eggshell, and a semi-gloss finish. Also the stain repellency of it. So if you think about it, this is probably more for the end user, their homeowner, or commercial property, but a lot of things that get on your wall get soaked through to the drywall. And that's a really tough situation because it requires a repaint, not a clean. So that stain repellency is really very important. And I think one of the other ones that's very beneficial to our professionals is the one coat hide. So there's 1,000+ colors that we've incorporated into this line where we guarantee a one coat hide. So there's lots of options out there for the professionals to potentially leverage that as an option as they're going through and bidding whatever project they are, whether it be a home in a residential side or commercial building. The one coat hide is something that can be a profit margin exponentiator to help them create more profits on the job and increase their margins. So we're a couple of the features and benefits there. I'll let David speak to some additional ones that are in this product line that are beneficial to the applicators out there or the end user.
Well, another thing about Dynasty is its superior and advanced block resistance. allows for a faster dry time for the recoat and the final top coat. And after 4 hours, rivaling our cabinet and trim paint, you can shut cabinets, shut doors, and you won't have that tackiness or sticking or even peeling when you open it later, allowing for our pros to return to service and finish the jobs a lot faster. It's also one of our paint and primers that bypasses another step, also saving them time and money on each project, saving them on labor.
And labor is not easy to come by at the moment.
No.
Good stuff to have. How are you all? Obviously, we've been reporting tons on some materials issues, and some people have experienced some difficulties getting paint. Are pretty easy to find, Dynasty?
Yeah, I think you might question our launching time. As Andrew mentioned, it was in September, but we planned for this. A lot of effort. It was going to launch earlier in the year, but we positioned ourselves to be in stock with the product before it was launched. It's available at the Home Depot. We're sitting on ample supply, but we're excited. There's been a lot of advertising out there for this, and I think we have an opportunity to kind of create the next level in the paint industry as far as quality goes. So we're sitting in a pretty good position, being that it launched in September with the environment that we're dealing with on the product availability.
I know you've got a program called the BEHR PRO Products and Services Program. Explain to me what that is.
So my position as regional, I'm one of the boots on the ground. And yeah, just talking to product availability, we have multiple ways to get our pros products. Obviously, we have a strong partnership and sold exclusively through the Home Depot. So they can pop into a Home Depot and get anything that they need from any of our lines at almost any of the Home Depots at any time. But also with any of their reps, they can order directly. And we have what's called our DTP program, where we ship directly to the job site for the pros, keeping them on the job, keeping them working. And like I said, I'm part of the team that's the boots on the ground, and I can testify to, we have living, breathing documents where we are constantly updating and in communication with all of our pros of what's going on with their business, what's coming down the pipeline, and kind of staying ahead of the curve, kind of just circling back to, just inventory being affected on a global market scale. We've been doing a really good job working together with our pros, and it's actually made our partnerships stronger because we're actually growing and going through these times with our pros and showing how much we care about their business, because their business is our business.
Is that a group or a service that a contractor needs to opt into or sort of sign up for?
A lot of our pros are assigned what we call pro reps, and we also have hub reps that they work inside of the Home Depots 40 hours a week. So there's a BEHR rep specialist for them for anything that they need inside of the Home Depots. And then we have the pro reps that are outside in the field as well. So they have like what we call the trifecta, a tripod, if you will, of a support team for any of their needs.
So the pro paint specialist, the PPS, part of one of the trifecta that you referenced, explain what that is.
So that is their in-store specialist. That's going to be their guy that if any of our guys, especially like res repaint guys, work with our pro paint specialist the most, because they're the guys that are going to be going into the store almost daily. And when they do, that's their main contact. That's always their guy. He's in there Monday through Friday during their hours, usually 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And they're there for any of their needs, and also to help any other pros that are in the store that are looking for any help, and also to create that paint store experience in the paint department by not only being there for the pros, but also training up the Home Depot associates on our pro lines, on all of our lines actually, to be able to service the pros also.
Matt, some of the trifecta that David's talking about, the BEHR Pro Products and Services, the Pro Paint Specialist, the Pro Extra Program, that's a lot of pro-focused service available from you all. Do you get the sense that enough painting contractors are aware of that? Because these aren't really new services. You guys have been doing this for a while now. Is that right?
Yeah, we have. And I think it's potentially maybe unrecognized out there how important that team can be to really help maneuver the Home Depot, which is challenging if you walk in and you just need one product. So product performance is always key, but the service piece of it is even more important to us, to make sure that they navigate the Home Depot in the most efficient way possible. We know time is money. We know they need to get in and out of those stores. So there's the team that David referenced is that team that helps them do that. And it's really important that they connect with those folks. And it's pretty easy if you just get on the BEHRpro.com. You can find one of those hub specialists that David mentioned that are in the stores 40 hours a week that work for BEHR, and also the BEHR reps that are in the markets as well. So that is a crucial part of an overall service mechanism that's important. that we can get these folks not only introduced to our products, but also to what capabilities we have.
I love it. Perfect. Well, speaking of the pro, let's talk to Tim. Again, Tim Crumpler, Director of Operations at Calderon Drywall and Paint. And Tim, I'm sorry, I didn't identify your location. Where are you located?
We are in just north of Atlanta, Georgia, Ackworth.
God's country.
It's beautiful
Which,
up here. It is.
I'll admit, I'll say that about every place, but it's only because I believe it. Talk a bit about, you're a pro. Explain to us how you've used Dynasty. What type of job was it?
Well, it was a commercial job. We deal a lot with higher end multifamily projects where visibility is key. So when someone comes into, say, an amenity space or an area where they're going to be introduced to the community, it needs to be of the highest quality. So in those areas where there's going to be a lot of traffic walking through to where it shows well, you need to have a higher end paint to be able to give off a nice clean finish. And that's really what kind of led us to BEHR and the Dynasty product. In fact, I was one of those guys who walked into Home Depot and went to the desk, and they did have one of the reps there with BEHR, but he quickly handed me over to a pro rep because I needed to order a lot of paint, and it came in right at the right time when you guys were launching the product in September, and I was needing something pretty quickly. And he handed me over to a young lady by the name of Allison Smith, who's a BEHR rep, and she just took it and was able to meet my demand and exceeded my expectations as far as the product is concerned and how she was able to provide us with the services that Matt was talking about.
Nice. By the way, an amenity space. I like the sound of that. I need an amenity space in my house. So talk a bit about, do you typically, again, Dynasty, ultra premium product, is that typically what you use? Does it depend on the job? And if so, when do you use ultra premium and why do you use ultra premium products?
Well, normally when you're in the multifamily commercial environment, generally you'll use a mid-range paint that covers well. However, when you get into the areas like I was talking about with amenity space where you get into high traffic and visibility, you need to go with a higher end paint. So what we were looking for is something that would be able to cover well, because you deal with some substrates that are pretty difficult and you need to have a really good primer. So we're used to using a level type 5 primer or a level 5 primer to be able to compensate for those substrates that aren't ideal, which you come across on a regular basis. But with the Dynasty product, it superseded our expectations and we were able to eliminate that application because it covered so well. And the other thing I would like to point out is that, you talked about how quickly it dries. It was something we needed to have happen pretty quickly because we're on pretty tight timelines. And because of some of the things that we're experiencing in the market today, because of COVID, because of what's taken place down in the Houston area, and in regards to being able to get some of the products to be able to mix the paint that we need to mix or have mixed for us, provided for us, it was able to help us meet our deadlines and meet the expectation of our customer as well.
So, Tim, you talked about working with some difficult substrates in there. What were you guys working with?
Well, obviously paint goes over drywall. So a lot of times when you've got some issues with seams or, maybe it wasn't that great of a drywall job or something like that, you tend to have to compensate that or overcome those challenges by having a primer. And we usually use a level 5 primer, which gives you a much thicker finish or thicker substrate. And then you just apply your paint on top of that and it gives you a nice, clean, smooth finish once it's all done. But with the BEHR product, we virtually eliminated that second step and we're able to just jump right into the finished product.
Nice. Chris, how about you? We haven't heard from you yet. Chris Barcomb, owner of 5 Star Painting in Katy, Texas. How have you used Dynasty in the past?
We were really anticipating and looking forward to the release of Dynasty because we switched over exclusively to Marquee and Scuff Defense about a year and a half ago to make us more competitive in our residential repaint market. And when my pro rep, Larry Moreau, told me about Dynasty, we started to salivate, man. We were like, we're going to dominate our market now. So before it was even on the shelves, I said, Larry, hey, I've got this job coming up and it's a former client and they're very particular and I need to use Dynasty for this job. And we went in and we did our normal prep. It was a previously painted drywall. And it was phenomenal. One coat coverage, because we were working out of the one coat color collection, which just blew my clients' minds. So we came in about 20% less than, say, a 2-coat job. And this was the kind of crazy thing. So she came up with this color from a competitor that was not in the 1-coat color collection, and it's still covered in 1 coat. And we were blown away by that. And then the other thing was the production was so much quicker because of the decreased drying time. So we had actually switched over to our 18-inch rollers because we realized we could literally cut a couple to 3 hours off of the job per day. So we did her whole entire house in Dynasty, and it just came out beautifully. She loves it.
Today's podcast is brought to you by BEHR Dynasty Interior Paint. BEHR Dynasty Interior Paint is everything your clients want in a paint now, all in one can, featuring the most advanced stain repellency and scuff resistance to keep the surfaces of walls looking newer, longer. It has fast drying technology and early block resistance, all with 1-coat hide guaranteed in over 1,000 colors. It's BEHR's most durable, most stain repellent, most scuff resistant 1-coat hide paint ever, exclusively available at the Home Depot. So why choose BEHR Dynasty? Its advanced stain repellency blocks existing stains from showing through and minimizes penetration of new stains. Its scuff and mar resistance protects the painted surface from changes in appearance due to scuff, mar, and burnishing, making it ideal for high traffic areas. Its 1-coat hide saves time and labor. By the way, 1-coat hide is valid only when tinted to colors from BEHR's 1-coat hide color collection. Its fast drying technology reduces downtime between application and use, allowing a quick return to service. Its outstanding early block resistance provides a tack-free film that keeps painted surfaces from sticking together within 4 hours. Darker colors may require additional dry time between coats, and cooler temperatures or higher humidity may prolong drying time. So visit behrpro.com/dynasty-interior. Again, behrpro.com/dynasty-interior. Or contact your BEHR Pro representative by visiting behr.com/rep.
Chris, what are you guys seeing in the high-end market? Are you seeing an increase in the demand for better high-end paint?
Yes, I think a lot of the high-end market clients are better educated about coatings. And I think they recognize that, your liquids, your paints are not the big expense on a contract. So they recognize that paying a little more for a premium paint is going to serve them better for higher durability, better coverage, expanded color collections. I mean, there's just so many other facets of using a premium paint that smart clients are recognizing that, to some degree, if you walk into an initial meeting with a client and you are specifying, say, a lower end paint, they're seriously questioning whether or not you know what you're doing and whether or not they want to work with you.
That's an interesting point, because it is true that I feel like contractors have always been pretty well educated for the most part on what it is they're using and why. Customers are becoming more and more educated on what's happening out there. But I'm curious, Matt, from you too, what are you all seeing on the BEHR side as far as the demand for high-end paint?
I would agree 100% with Chris, because especially in the residential market and the education of the consumer out there is too widely available, the product and the benefits of using those products. So we are seeing our Ultra line has always been a great line. It's now Scuff Defense. The Marquee was a great launch when we did it, and I think it got picked up a lot on the residential side. And as Chris mentioned, I think the Dynasty is just a combination of those two lines, some of those features and benefits from both of them that are now in one paint line. So we foresee that continuing to drive up. Chris mentioned it, and just to make a point out there, and I know our pros listening know that the fact that you can leverage some of these products to increase your profitability and margins, like Chris mentioned, and we know the margin's not in paint. That's not where you make the money. It's on the labor side. So if you can get in and out of a job a lot quicker, those hours can help you maximize the team, do more, or make more money on each job. So I think it's something that we're going to continue to see in the industry.
You guys, I'm curious, from both Tim and Chris, how's the labor situation for you guys?
For us, we have a stable crew of painters that we use on just about every project, and they maintain their manpower because we keep them busy. So we haven't experienced that, at least on my end, and I've been very, very fortunate with that as well.
Chris, how about you guys?
Almost the exact same thing. We spent the last 6 years really cultivating our relationship and our culture. And our painters literally don't want to go anywhere else or work for anyone else or with anyone else. So we have not had that issue. We've also, because we keep so much data on all of the different jobs that we do through job costing analysis, and not knowing where COVID was going to go last year, we made some pretty tight internal decisions with regards to our target gross revenue. So we didn't have to go out and find new crews. And what we did is, one, the efficiency that we gained with using Dynasty, for instance, basically turns a 4-day job into a 3-day job. So now where I couldn't get 2 full jobs done in a week, I could get 2 full jobs done in a week with the crews that I had. So we decided not to look for new crews. We decided to look at different ways we could become more efficient with what we had.
Nice.
Well,
Nothing wrong with being able to take on new work right now.
And if you're blowing through high premium product like Dynasty, one coat coverage with an 18-inch roller, that is some maximum efficiency, Chris. That's incredible. So I'm sure that you know that many of your peers, the painting contractor, might be skeptical of the one coat claim. Can you share your experience about that, Chris?
Yeah, so I was hugely skeptical about that as well. And before I became a BEHR Pro, I was working with our local Make-A-Wish Foundation to repaint and redecorate a young lady's room here in the Katy area. And Make-A-Wish supplied BEHR at the time. It was the Premium Plus. And it was like this hot pink color, and we were going over white walls. And I'm like, oh man, we are going to be here for 3 days painting this room. So we're in there, we get all set up, and I'm cutting in, and my superintendent is getting all set up to roll, and he's looking at me cutting in, and he goes, hey man, you're laying it on pretty thick. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, dude, that's covering right. And this is Premium Plus. So we're not even in a Marquee or Dynasty line at that point. So we literally did it in one coat over white walls. And that's when I called Larry Moreau. I'm like, hey, Larry, you've been dogging me for I don't know how many months now to talk to you. Let's have lunch, man. So we sat down, and he started going over all of the one coat color collections, the various aspects of it. And we were just getting creamed by our competition, losing interior jobs left and right. So we focus mainly on residential repaint. So losing those interior jobs is a huge blow to our top line and bottom line. So once Larry kind of explained this to us, we reset all of our estimating software for one coat coverage. And once we started landing those jobs and sort of learning the nuances of the paint and how we needed to talk to clients so we started then we started getting all the literally there's 3 different books for the one coat color collection. We started talking about how this is going to benefit their family, stain resistance, all the stuff that Dynasty brings. You're no longer talking about price anymore. Now you're going one coat coverage. So I'm a huge believer.
Okay, Chris, also one of these features that BEHR is so proud of, understandably, is Dynasty's Scuff and Mar resistance. What is your experience with that?
We just had a client. We painted the entire house, all of it with Dynasty. And we were using Cameo White as the color. And we're about halfway through the job. And they're under a lot of stress. They just bought the house. It's their very first house. They've got kids running around, and the house is wide open and empty. So the kids are just literally riding scooters, having a good time through the house. Well, I guess our client, she has this moment of fear. She's like, oh my God, I picked a white paint, and I have these children running around like crazy people. This is going to be the dirtiest house on the planet. So my production manager, Joseph, he pulls his mag light out of his back pocket, and he literally drags it across the wall that we had only painted the day before. So we don't even have a cure time on this thing at all. And I'm looking at him like, are you insane? I'm like, what have you done? So there's this black mark on the wall, and he just goes and grabs, like a microfiber towel, and he just literally wipes it off. And There's no burnishing. There was no mark left. There was nothing left on the wall. And I'm sure my eyes were big as plates. And I just started laughing. And I'm just like, I cannot believe you just did that. But I'm so glad that you did, because our client was like, all right, we're good. Keep going. So it worked amazingly well.
So even if your kids are named Scuff and Mar, it's still going to do the trick.
We believe it will, yes.
Thing one and thing two, they don't stand a chance against Dynasty. Emily, that was a Dr. Seuss reference. I hope you caught that.
Of course.
Don't act like you don't read Dr. Seuss.
Of course.
Today's podcast is brought to you by BEHR PRO. Two popular products that BEHR PRO is promoting to the APC audience are the BEHR Premium Cabinet and Trim Interior Enamel and BEHR Ultra Scuff Defense Interior Paint. BEHR Premium Cabinet and Trim Interior Enamel dries to a hard, durable finish, and its tack-free film keeps doors from sticking together after just 2 hours. By the way, darker colors may require additional dry time, longer dry time required in cooler temperatures and higher humidity. It has excellent flow and leveling and is ideal for use on cabinets, trim, doors, windows, shutters, and woodwork. It's available in satin and semi-gloss finishes. For more information, visit behrpro.com/cabinet and trim. BEHR Ultra Scuff Defense Interior Paint sets a new standard for paint durability. Scuff Defense features an innovative paint formula that delivers advanced burnish, scuff, and mar resistance for high traffic areas. It's available in flat, eggshell, satin, and semi-gloss finishes. For more information, go to behrpro.com/scuff defense. Both the cabinet and trim enamel and scuff defense are exclusively available at the Home Depot. You can contact a BEHR Pro representative by visiting behr.com/rep.
We talked a little bit about substrate. I know Tim was talking about drywall. What about you, Chris? Any substrate challenges that you found this to be particularly effective against?
This is a kind of a unique one. We just recently did a make ready for a rental property using Dynasty, which, how counterintuitive is that, right? Doing a rental property with a premium paint, but we were going over a bunch of paper. And so we floated the seams, textured the wallpaper. And normally my biggest concern is we're going to have some kind of bubbling if we don't prime. I said, heck with it. Let's try it out, man. And it worked. So I'm sold on this stuff.
Tim, how about you? Do you have anything to add as far as using Dynasty over problem substrates or challenging surfaces?
No. I mean, just kind of touch on what Chris was talking about in regards to the one coat. That was what caught us off guard as well. It was phenomenal, and be able to go in with an 18-inch roller and be able to cover up and move through the job quickly. That was a huge benefit for us.
Matt, David, man, I know you've spent months in meetings and planning for Dynasty. It's got to be incredibly satisfying to sit here and listen to these pro painters talk about Dynasty in the way they are, right?
Absolutely. It's exciting. This line is new for us. You mentioned September launch, and there's more coming on this line. So there'll be some additional launches in the future, and excited to hear the feedback and hope we satisfy some of the professionals out there that haven't tried it to at least give it a shot. Use our team and utilize the team to service like Chris and Tim have been serviced on their businesses.
Heck yeah, man. Like I said in the beginning, I meant it, still mean it. Thank you to Matt and David for coming on and being so eager to share this with our listeners, with the Pro Painter, and Chris and Tim, thanks for coming on and sharing your experience. Very, very interesting. We want to hear it from the horse's mouth, the people who've run it through the test, through the gauntlet, and come out the other end successful. I think you bring a ton of interesting insights. So thank you all for being on Paint Radio. Emily, as always, thanks for agreeing to do this podcast. I'm always surprised when you come back to do another one because, I think you do it for the guests, and that's fine. That's okay. But Emily, excellent work as usual.
You did a great job.
If you want to learn more about Dynasty and the additional products that BEHR Pro offers for the professional painting contractor, go to behrpro.com You can learn about the trifecta that David was talking about, all the pro-focused services and programs. And again, of course, learn about the new ultra premium Interior Dynasty. Great product. Everybody, thanks for sharing your time and your knowledge and your passion about beautiful products, pro painters. That's why we're here. Everybody listening, give it a shot. Thanks for listening to Paint Radio, and have a tremendous day.